Good evening, Fernwood. It is your funky Uncle Neil, and it's time for us to get rambunctious with another episode of Mary Hartman, Mary Hartman. We are watching episode 292 today from May 17th, 1977. The last week or so, we've been sort of picking up speed on these new storylines, so why don't we take a look back at the race? Kathy brought Martha back to the Shumway home because she's trying to figure out what to do about Standing Cow. Martha's reaction is to wonder why a strange woman is lying out on her kitchen table. And Esther Schneider, Standing Cow, says, "Hey, be quiet, I'm dying here." George walks in with his new invention, the bug gun, and is surprised to find Martha, his wife, standing there. And he asks her to come back, but she says no, she has everything she needs. So George gets a bit more persistent. Martha tries to get to know the woman lying on her kitchen table, and George gets somewhat threatening, mocking her claim to Native American heritage. Esther recognizes Martha as the daughter of Billy Twelvetrees and proclaims that they are cousins, and this is punctuated by George shooting himself in the face with his bug gun. And Standing Cow makes fully clear that she intends to die here in the home of her people. Next door at the Hartman home, Mary is packing coffee grounds into some tea bags as she gets a visit from Fiona Foley, the mother of Dennis. Fiona has lived a clearly privileged life and wonders how Mary is feeling about her current situation. And Mary says that she's quite happy with Tom and Heather. Then Tom shows up and is cordial to Fiona until he discovers that she is Dennis Foley's mother, and then he leaves abruptly. And that makes an impression on Fiona as Dennis arrives to bring her to the tennis court. Heather pops in with her new Polaroid and snaps a shot of the Foley family. Then Dennis offers to take a picture of Heather with her mother, and she says sure as soon as she can figure out who her mother is. Then Fiona thanks Mary for making the Foleys feel welcome and says that they're quite lucky, which leaves Mary musing about how lucky she is in her life. And then we get high on the hog in the Jeter residence as Merle and Wanda take their old-timey American bit to a new level. Merle is looking forward to his mother Adeline's arrival and hopes that the news crews can capture her, bringing her bags to their place. And she arrives and she is pushy and brash. And Wanda and Merle don't think that she'll be great for publicity. So Wanda takes her to the back room as the news crews show up, and they are surprised that Merle is going to do this interview by himself. But then Adeline pops right back out. Merle announces at first that he's not planning to run for president, but Adeline thinks that he'd make a great president since everyone knows he's a liar. So Merle turns it around and says, well, I don't want to take advantage of everyone, I just want to be plain old Merle Jeter. And Adeline says that's what America needs. A crook they can trust. So everyone, it looks like the seeds that we've been planting all week long are starting to take root. I have no idea what will be blossoming, so let's find out.
Mary Hartman! Mary Hartman!
At least you like the coffee, huh?
Huh?
The coffee. That's all you've had.
That's all I want. Coffee and the sports page.
Not a well-balanced diet, Tom. Sports page, is good roughage, but, I really think that you need something a little more healthy for you, like eggs.
Yeah, all right, Mary.
I mean, I'm aware that eggs, can cause heart attacks. That's why I use the egg beaters, because there's no cholesterol or anything in them.
All right, you want me to be healthy, huh? There. Satisfied?
As good as eggs, right?
As good as cold eggs.
more than just the eggs, Tom? Is it the marriage?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Heather, please don't read at the table, okay? Tom, could you please just tell me what's bothering you, okay?
There's nothing bothering me.
No, I was talking to Daddy, okay? Tom, why can't you tell me what's going on?
Well, there's nothing going on. It's just that we don't have a perfect marriage, that's all.
You mean you think our marriage isn't perfect?
Well, got a couple of problems.
Like how not perfect?
Like the way you guys always fight.
Heather, I'm sorry, but this conversation was not meant for your ears, okay? I mean, your father and I do not fight. When something goes wrong, your father and I sit and we talk things out. That's what we do. So will you go back and read your paper, because your father and I are saying really that we would like very much to talk about right now.
There's nothing to talk about.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Does nothing mean Fiona coming over here yesterday? Is that what's upsetting you?
Mary, I just told you that there's nothing to talk about.
Well, then maybe we should talk about how badly we're communicating.
We're communicating just fine, Mary, just fine.
Well, then let's talk about Dennis's mother.
Listen, he had to have a mother, didn't he, huh? And she came over here, that's all. So what's-his-name's mother came over here yesterday and had a little visit with you, right? So what? I'm not angry.
Sergeant Foley. His name is Dennis Foley.
I know what his name is.
See, Tom, I mean, you are upset about it. I really think that we should talk about it.
I just told you, I said there's nothing to talk about.
Are you upset because he's back in town? Tom, are you or aren't you upset because he's here? Now raise one finger yes or two fingers no. Come on, do something.
You do remember that Mom had the affair with Dennis last year, don't you? That ought to get him to admit he's mad.
Heaven, now that was a long time ago and has nothing to do with this discussion. And it also isn't a very pleasant item for the breakfast menu.
You think Daddy isn't mad, don't you? Well, he's gritting his teeth.
Look, I'm not angry, all right? Now, there's nothing wrong with this damn marriage. This is a perfect marriage. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like everybody else's. And we don't need any more communication either. There's too damn much communication. This is a perfect marriage. Perfect. We have Heather, we have you, and we have me.
I wonder if we got a puppy.
Mrs. Haggard, a mother hen must always let her little chick leave the nest. Loretta!
Oh, hi, Don. Hi, honey.
Hi. I just love it when you come home for your lunch break. Dr. Maddox came over to see how we was doing with Johnny Doe being off to his first day of school.
Your wife misses that boy, Mr. Haggard, just as if it were her own.
You can sure say that again, Doc. You know, he's only been gone this morning, and Charlie, it feels like an entire year and a day.
Well, just think, honey, when he comes back, he'll be reading and writing. That'll make it worth it.
Well, Well, now, hon, I don't think it's going to be quite that simple. Dr. Maddock here said that he might just have the slightest problem, until he can use proper words, talk like we do.
Of course, I didn't mean to cause alarm.
Yeah, we're not alarmed. I mean, kindergarten's going to be great for that kid. He's going to be so popular, he'll just be the natural leader of that class.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid's got a heck of a personality, Johnny Doe. Johnny.
You folks had better let me handle this.
Charlie, the stuff.
I'm Johnny's teacher, Miss Mildred.
Oh, hi.
Are you two Johnny's guardians?
Yes?
What happened?
There's a problem, Mr. and Mrs. Haggers, with Johnny.
Now, how can that be? I mean, how can you have a problem with finger paints and tinker toys, for Pete's sake?
There's a problem with finger paints if he throws them in Patty Proto's face. And several children went home black and blue from tinker toys.
Oh, my gosh. Well, now, but it's, it's not really Johnny Doe's fault that city kids ain't as tough as those what was raised by Bigfoot.
I'm not here to point any fingers. We professional educators don't like to find fault. Just let me tell you, the boy's a bad seed, and bad seeds are a real drag on the school system.
You can't talk like that about our child.
Oh, well, no, wait a minute, Charlie. Miss Mildred, is that it? Ma'am, is what you're trying to say to us is that he can't stay in school?
No, that's not fair, darn it. That's not fair. The boy's entitled to learn to read and write.
I'm not even sure we can teach him to talk. And that's a definite handicap in the upper grades. But perhaps if you put him in a class for the, how shall I put it, backward.
Backward. But that child is not backward. Johnny Doe is not backward. I mean, sure, I'll give you that he ain't as sophisticated like some of the kids here in Fernwood, but even Dr. Maddock here says he ain't backward.
Nope.
Well, here's how I see it. The boy is a boon to science, a gold mine for research, and if we're lucky, a Nobel Prize for me.
So let him throw finger paints in your face.
Wait just a second. Now, Charlie, we have had our doubts about him adjusting in school and everything.
Yeah,
it's true. So what I think should be done here is that I will teach the child how to read and write myself. That's the best plan.
Yeah.
I'll just do that.
That's...
Because, he's got to have his proper education.
You are so misguided. Child rearing should really be left in the hands of professionals.
Oh,
Johnny Doe, come here.
darling.
Come here, fella.
Honey.
Come on over see Daddy and Mama.
Perhaps I should be the one to train him. After all, I've already proved that the boy and I are simpatico.
Shoot, no, Doctor, I ain't so sure about that.
I trust this man.
Now, here's a plan for you. Suppose I take the boy and give him some exercises in my zoo.
Your zoo?
Oh, come on.
And since it was my say-so that convinced the social welfare people to let you keep the boy, my say-so can have him out like that.
If only we had just a little more time.
Yeah, Doc, we've practically got him civilized. I almost learned him how to use his toothbrush this morning.
Please believe me, I know what's best. And as a man of science, I'm very sensitive.
Doctor,
Now, wait a minute. Here.
It's okay.
Miss Mildred, let go.
It's okay. Thank you.
It'll all be all right, honey.
Well, they tell me that our boy's too wild. He acts like an animal instead of a child. Or maybe it's just that he don't got his head on right. But I love him, Lord, like my natural own. I want to get him comfort, make him a home, and help our boy through the perils of the night. Charlie, my heart has been severely wounded. Dr. Maddock took our son.
Yeah, well, honey, you got to remember that he is the main one, though, that agrees with us that Johnny Doe ain't mentally defected or backward in any way.
I know.
And if it wasn't for Dr. Maddock, we wouldn't be able to keep Johnny Doe at all.
I know.
And it's only going to be for one day, Loretta.
When you love somebody, Charlie, that's like a lifetime.
Now, we got to stop this here. Now, we're out on the town to have a good time, honey. I mean, we just got to have a good time. We got to look around at the friendly lights and the festive people and all like that. Hey, Tom, just what we need. Come on over here and set yourself down, Tom. Hey, you must be just trotting along like a mule in front of the cart since you got out of jail, huh? You like your freedom?
Well, Tom, where's Mary?
There's nothing wrong, is there?
No, there's nothing wrong. She's just a little tired, you know, too much window cleaning, I guess. What's with you guys?
Huh?
You look like you lost your only child.
We did.
They took little Johnny Doe away to civilize him.
What, they put him in a home?
No.
No, nothing like that, thank
Camp,
goodness.
though.
He's down at Dr. Maddox's snake farm for the night. Dr. Maddox thinks that he can teach Johnny Doe to act natural, you know.
Yeah.
Well, you know, kids sometimes need a little extra attention. I mean, it happens to Heather sometimes, so.
What in the world is that?
Oh, hey. Bartender, line them up. Soak those throats. We're going to celebrate.
What's the occasion, George?
What's the occasion? Do you want to know what the occasion is?
Yeah.
This
Hey,
is
George.
the occasion.
George,
You are looking at the quickest, slickest pump spray gimmick in the West. A spray gun bug killer. Huh?
What? Look at
You
that.
see a bug?
Look out here.
Well, that's a pretty neat idea. Did you make that up?
Did I make that up? I invented this. Take a look at this. Imagine a cockroach creeping around the corner, huh?
Right.
You sneak up to him.
Yeah.
You take careful aim, and you go. Well, it gets sticky once in a while. I gotta work out a few of the kinks now. You see a bug bopping along, right? Bang goes the bug.
Hey, George.
Oh, damn it. It worked perfect at home.
Good idea, though, George.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a great idea, George. And let me tell you something, hon. Once you get all them kinks out of that gun, I am going to purchase that gun for my own home and my own bugs.
Thanks, Loretta.
That's nice. That's my sweetheart. That's the spirit I like to see.
Well, I just realized just then, Charlie, it is tacky for me to be pitiful and sorrowful and everything when there's lots more in this world which is more unfortunate than myself, right?
That is so right, honey. George, I want to tell you something. A million of them bug guns can't replace a good wife.
Oh, yeah, but I need this gun now. Don't you realize there's time when you need something to push you through the bad times? Look at Tom. We're two men in a sinking ship.
Oh, wait a minute. I got a couple of holes in my hull, but wait a minute. I'm not in no sinking ship. No way.
That's better, Tom. That's better. Now, that's
Yeah.
the spirit. That's what keeps Loretta and me overcoming our bad times is perkiness.
Right on.
Not that we have that many bad times, I mean. Except, like Loretta losing the use of her limbs. Me losing my manhood.
Yeah.
Loretta losing her memory. But nothing big, you know.
Yeah, well, you two have been lucky.
Tom, let me tell you something, darling. Everybody needs something when they're feeling lower than a snake's belly. Now, I personally have the Lord and Charlie in that order.
Right.
And it looks to me like George here's got his inventing career and everything. But, Tom, you appear to me to have a powerful lack of something, darling. Now, my suggestion would, of course, be for you to have a little chat with the Lord. But I realize you ain't as religious as Charlie and me. So, if not that, there has just got to be something that you can turn to for comfort?
Well, bartender, another round here, huh?
Yeah, okay, now I've paid my dues, and I got his autograph, and his pictures are up. What else do club members have to do? A piece of his clothing? All right, I'll go for a lock of hair.
Hey.
Oh, I gotta go, okay? I'll call you later, bye. Mom, you'll never guess what happened.
What?
Trudy's my best friend again. You know, she used to be my worst enemy. Now we're friends again because we're both in the same fan club.
Oh, well, that's wonderful, but I'm sure Trudy would have been your friend even if you weren't in a fan club.
Are you kidding? She wouldn't even talk to Annie Potsky now because Annie Potsky said Dennis's eyes were too close together, which is an obvious lie.
Is this a, Dennis Foley fan club?
Sure. Aren't the posters neat? They took me 3 months savings to get him, but it was worth it. He's better than the Fonz. I mean, at least he's a real person, not just some silly teenage fantasy.
Why are you doing this to me?
Doing what? What's wrong with the Foley fan club?
Heather, I don't know how to put this to you, but Dennis Foley is old enough to be your father.
So? Look at Grandma. She has a boyfriend. He's a lot younger than her. And look at the Prime Minister of Canada, or what's his name? Bing Crosby.
Heather, could you please take the pictures off the wall?
I gotta keep them up for a week. It's club rules. Either that or I'll get kicked out and I don't have any friends.
It's a club rule?
Sure, that's what Dennis told Trudy. You have to do that if you want to be his fan.
Oh, Heather.
But I am his fan. I think he's cute.
Cute? You know who's cute? Donny Osmond is cute. Dennis Foley is a man who shaves and has a very bad heart. Now, come on, help me. I'll help you take these silly...
You keep your hands off my posters.
Look, I don't want to sound objective or subjective or arbitrary or anything like that, but I order you to go to your room right now.
Why? So you can filch my most prized possession? Is there anything going on between you and him?
Heather, now you stop that! That's instant! Feel as if you're picking on me.
You're paranoid.
Go to your room.
You're unreal. Just unreal.
Hi, honey.
Hi.
Anything new?
I know that last week, there were episodes that put me just to straight ugly cry, like 2 episodes. This one hurts more. I was thinking during the first scene that it hurt more than some of the ugliest fights I've seen between Tom and Mary. That they have had some ugly fights, right? And those really hit me hard. In this case, Tom is holding on to his anger, his rage. He's not letting it out. And Mary wants to know what's going on there. Heather is not helping, and I cannot understand what Heather is up to here. Heather certainly wants to drive a wedge between Mary and herself. I'm not sure why she feels the need to drive a wedge between Tom and Mary, unless it's maybe to drive her away so that she doesn't have to be around her. I never really thought of Heather as a villain before, but in this case, it's really brutal what she's doing. But that first scene again, Mary just wants to know what's going on with Tom, and Tom doesn't want to say. It's clear, right? I thought there that it would have to be about Dennis. And really, other than Dennis, I don't know that they have big problems right now. You know, most of the things were resolved when Tom got out of jail. They do have other problems. They do have another problem, which we'll get to later, but the main problem directly between Tom and Mary is that Dennis is a figure in her life, and thus a figure in Tom's life. And Mary doesn't even want Dennis around. And then we have Loretta and Dr. Maddock greeting Charlie, who has just dropped off Johnny Doe at his kindergarten class. Apparently things got ugly at the school. And by that I mean violence, kids feeling traumatized, which is a bad fit. I felt a lot of pain when the teacher said that Johnny Doe was a bad seed. I feel like I've met kids who I've felt were bad seeds, and I can't quite imagine what it would be like to be a parent who cared as much as Loretta and Charlie care, and to have your child called that. I mean, insulting is just the lowest level of what you would feel if someone said that. I feel like Loretta and Charlie as parents are being called to task, but they are doing their best. It's not like they've abandoned this child, they just don't have the tools. And this is where Dr. Maddox suggests taking JD away to his zoo, to his snake farm, which seems a bit dehumanizing, perhaps. I don't know what JD is going to look like when he gets back to the Haggers, and I do believe that Dr. Maddox is well-intentioned, but I can only imagine how painful it would be to have your kid taken away. And we come back to Loretta and Charlie at the Capri Lounge. Dr. Maddox has taken JD, and Tom shows up, and he's probably trying to distance himself from Mary. George shows up. I was feeling a lot of ache inside of my chest until George showed up, because George, strangely enough, is the comic relief of this scene, which I really did need. I very much appreciated that George came and kind of did something stupid, which was the bug gun. You know, he brought it out. I feel like that is a dangerous product, if only seeing someone with something that looks like that would make me run in fear, which everyone had that reaction when they saw it come out in the 1970s. I feel like there were some laws in place for guns that aren't anymore, and well, that's a whole topic. But George is carrying around his bug gun, and of course it doesn't work. Then Loretta turns that around and says, you know, when you get the kinks fixed in this gun, I will buy one. And that's lovely and supporting. And then that turns to Loretta supporting Tom, or at least attempting to support Tom, to think about what's good in his life or what he can do to make things better. And the more painful part, right, after that brief respite, is that Tom's only thing at the end of that exchange was to drink. And then Heather at home has the Dennis Foley fan club, and the posters have to stay in the kitchen for some reason. We've never seen Heather's bedroom, so I suppose it's not building a whole set. But Heather's in the Dennis Foley fan club, which is kind of gross. I mean, I remember at this year I had a Fonzie poster, the Fonzie poster and a Richie poster from Happy Days. I remember having those. So those were hot posters in kids' walls, on kids' walls at that point. Heather has an obsessive amount, right? An amount that would feel kind of stalkerish for up on your wall. It's literally plastered on every surface of that kitchen. And it's the same picture. It's not like different pictures. It's the one same picture which would make me go a little bit crazy if I had to live in that. As a person who has no personal connection to Dennis Foley, I think it would be kind of nutty to have one person's face plastered everywhere. And Mary rightly commands Heather to take that down. Heather, for some reason, doesn't understand. And I can't quite get my head around exactly how this fan club started, but Dennis told Trudy to keep the pictures up. Does this mean that Dennis is manipulating Trudy, thus manipulating Heather, thus getting those pictures up in Mary's kitchen? Is that what happened? Because that's disgusting. Or did the kids come up with some independent like for Dennis for some reason? I just can't picture that. Mary tells Heather to go to her room, and she's planning to take the pictures down, and Heather just questions Mary. She questions whether Mary has feelings for Dennis, and so far, no. I mean, right now, in this instance, for the last week or two that we've had him back, maybe it's been a little longer, I've lost track, but for the last week or two that Mary has known that he's been in town, she's made pretty clear that she doesn't want any kind of romantic or sexual contact with Dennis. Dennis has verbally said that they're friends. I don't believe he thinks that. I don't think he feels that. And Mary sends Heather up to the room, and of course, who comes home before Mary can take down all of the posters but Tom, who is holding in his rage. So this episode hurt, really, really hurt. Like those screaming matches they had in season 1, I feel like they've had at least one yelling match this season, but when things get real in this show, they really get real. Well, that's not exactly it, because this is beyond real. Having this poster situation, that's not exactly a real life situation, I think. I mean, to be obsessed with your ex to that extent. I suppose people do stalk their exes on their Facebook. I hope it never gets like this, though. So thank you so much for watching with me. Thank you so much for leaving your thoughts, feelings, and impressions down in the comments. Tomorrow is another sort of weird milestone that I'll tell you about when we get there. And hey, thank you for getting rambunctious with me. We will see you tomorrow night in Fernwood.